L'agroécologie, c'est l'amour de la terre et l'amour du paysan.
La agroecología es un sistema alternativo de producción de alimentos sanos. Es una oportunidad para el mundo para tener una alimentación responsable.
Det är snarare ett sätt att förstå helheten. Och för mig är agroekologi ett samspel mellan naturliga ekosystem och mänskliga ekosystem som jordbruk, skogsbruk eller fiske.
Agroecology សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំគឺជាប្រព័ន្ធកសិកម្មមួយដែលទាញយកផលប្រយោជន៍និងភាពអស្ចារ្យពីធម្មជាតិក្នុងគោលបំណងដើម្បីទទួលបានទិន្នផលខ្ពស់និងថែរក្សាធនធានធម្មជាតិរបស់យើងឲ្យបានគង់វង្សបានយូរ
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Je n'ai aucune idée.
Agroecology is on many lips, but what is it?
High yield, taking care of the earth, and making people access healthy food.
Growing food as a happy consequence of increasing the ecosystem services of a landscape.
Our participation in the landscape becomes a participation of caress, like a masseuse.
There's the human part of agroecology. The people who are tending to the plants, sort of like bees, are they happy? Do they have enough to eat?
Agroecology is a system based in traditional farming. In the South, we are talking about food sovereignty.
Agroecology really can help solve a lot of our problems in agriculture and around agriculture.
Can agroecology provide answers to the many challenges that agriculture faces? Feeding a growing population while conserving natural resources in the world of increasing uncertainties.
So, really what's going on today is that we have a clash of paradigms in agriculture. We have two types of agriculture that exist in the world. One is the industrial agriculture that is based on agrochemical inputs and the green revolution approach, and then the other one, which we could call the peasant agriculture, or the small farmers agriculture, which has been for centuries utilizing what we call today agroecological principles. And this industrial agriculture dominates the agricultural lands of today. We have about 1.5 billion hectares of agriculture. 80% of those is under these industrial monocultures that are highly dependent on external inputs that require tremendous amounts of energy, and they have become a major force of transformation of the biosphere, because today agriculture not only affects the areas in which it's embedded, but also has effects on distant ecosystems, like, for example, oceans, where we have dead zones today from the pollution of rivers that then end up in the ocean with fertilizers that promote algae growth and things of that nature. When you start using chemicals in the systems, other components other than rice are affected. For example, this fish here that you see play a very important role in the system because they eliminate weeds, and some of them push the plants to force the insects that are there, and they eat them. And then on top of that, they grow azolla, which is a plant that it fixes nitrogen. And then this azolla not only fertilizes the rice, and there's no need for fertilizers, but actually is the food of ducks, which also are playing a role in the system, but they're also producing meat and they're producing eggs. So at the end, you break this system that is totally self-sufficient. You know, these farmers, by assembling this biodiversity of ducks and fish and plants and weeds and so on, basically what happens is that they have a self-sufficient farming system. This is the model of agroecology. Agroecology is basically you assemble an ecological infrastructure with different kinds of biodiversity components that are going to be interacting, and through those interactions, what they do is they sponsor the fertility, the pest regulation, the productivity of your system. You don't need external inputs of any kind. Basically, what you need is a lot of knowledge on how to assemble the systems and then manage them. But these systems are being broken down by modern agriculture. That's the tragedy. So we're talking about very efficient, very biodiverse, and also very resilient systems, because what's happening is that we're seeing that everywhere studies have been done on the impacts of climatic events, extreme climatic events on productivity, monocultures are the first to go. Polyculture systems, agroforestry systems, diversified farming systems that small farmers have are the ones that are resilient. They're the ones that resist the impact and the ones that recover faster from the impact. So industrial agriculture is not going to only be limited by the ecological problems that it's causing, or by the cost of the petroleum, but also by not having ecological diversity that provides them with resiliency, they're going to collapse with climate change. So what we need is an alternative, which is agroecology. Resilience has two characteristics. One of them is resistant to the shock, and the other one is recovery. So we can learn a lot about resilience from small farmers. In Central America, when the Mitch came, there was a study done by Erich Jimenez using the Campesino network, and he found that all the farmers that modernized because USAID told them to produce non-traditional export crops for export in the United States, look at what happened with those farms when the hurricane comes. That's the main loss that happens when you have these heavy events, heavy rainfall events, is mudslides. And about 1 block from there, you can find this farm that didn't suffer any damage because it had soil cover, agroforestry systems, all the techniques that farmers traditionally have been using. So you can see there's a huge difference in the amount of derrumbes or mudslides in Honduras, where the hurricane was the worst. In the ecological farms, much less loss than in the monocultures. So we're finding that the agroecosystem resilience is associated with the vegetational diversity. The more diverse the systems, the more resilient they are. This is very important for when you have drought. The things that you were talking about. Soil organic matter content, varieties that are resistant to that, and farmers have 1.9 million varieties to select from. Soil cover, water harvesting, are those all techniques that are important but are embedded culturally, because it comes, you need to have the social organization, you have to have the cultural diversity and the knowledge on how to do this. This is not something that is transmitted in journals like we learn in the West. This is all oral traditions embedded in a cosmovision.
The agroecology farming method has many health and social benefits due to the biodiverse systems. The method also improves the livelihoods of farming households because it minimizes use of expensive farm inputs. Pan Asia Pacific and its partners has been advocating agroecology for more than a decade, knowing the disastrous consequences of chemical-intensive food and agricultural production. Established in 1993, the Research Center for Gender, Family and Environment in Development, or CGFED, is a non-governmental organization based in Hanoi, Vietnam.
Hành động vì hóa chất trừ sâu PANAP thì chúng tôi đã thực hiện một loạt các cái hoạt động tuyên truyền và vận động tới cộng đồng để làm thế nào để giảm thiểu cái vấn đề về sử dụng các cái hóa chất trừ sâu độc hại tới môi trường, và thông qua đó thì chúng tôi thúc đẩy các cái biện pháp thay thế như là xây dựng các cái mô hình và nông nghiệp sinh thái cho nông dân, từ đó để khuyến khích và thúc đẩy nông dân giảm sử dụng các cái hóa chất trừ sâu, cũng như là nhân rộng các cái mô hình nông nghiệp sinh thái không sử dụng hóa chất trừ sâu, cũng như là không sử dụng các cái chất kích thích tăng trưởng.
Tran Thilen takes special pride in being the leader of the Redworm Group in her commune.
Trước hết là khi làm việc với lại CGFED thì có rất nhiều lợi ích. Được đầu tư về kiến thức là cái vấn đề quan trọng nhất. Thứ hai nữa là cũng đã được tổ chức, như vậy là cho đi tập huấn, được học hỏi được các cái mô hình khác để mình về mình phát triển ở tại mô hình mình.
Mà thay thế bằng các cái phân bón hữu cơ từ cái mùn giun, rồi là đây là một cái chu trình, cái mô hình này là một cái chu trình khép kín, không có rác thải. Đầu vào của đầu ra của con giun quế nó chính là cái đầu vào cho cái việc trồng trọt và chăn nuôi.
Since 2014, Nguyet has been part of the Pioneer Women's Group.
Điều truyền cảm hứng cho mình là mình cảm thấy là khi tham gia cái nhóm này là mình cảm thấy là cuộc sống của mình nó cũng làm nên nhiều các chăn nuôi thì nó tốt cho sức khỏe và cộng đồng mọi người. Vì mình cảm thấy là chăn nuôi lợn gà nó có ích lợi cho gia đình mình và cho cộng đồng và cho bản thân gia đình nhà mình.